constructing using Lego, storytelling using G.I. Joes, coloring using paint. These are experiences I had as a kid. I've always been fascinated by what it takes for a game to go from concept to reality. As a species, we've been playing board games for thousands of years, from the first records of dice, and on to more modern games such as those by Milton Bradley, and Games Workshop. Not too long ago, a couple guys from Lazy Squire Games asked me if I wanted to make a board game with them. Wait, what? Over the past 15 years, I've gone from my buddy's rec room making modeling flock and thinking it would revolutionize the wargaming market, to making hobby terrain videos, to being an independent retailer, to Warhammer player, to no longer being a retailer, to full-time content creator, to now being at the crossroads of make videos or make videos plus make miniatures for tabletop gamers? So after teasing the idea of making minis, I immediately saw the community not only liked the idea, but was putting their trust in me that I could accomplish this task. At that point, there was only one thing to do. I rolled up my sleeves and got to work.
Okay, so my friend Dave at the YouTube channel MiniWarGaming just launched a Kickstarter. It's called Armies of the Veil Touched.
I wanted to make miniatures. I ran a campaign with Lazy Squire Games that earned over $1.1 million to produce Ravaged Star Armies of the Veil Touched. But first, we had a concept, which evolved into sample 3D renders, which had positive feedback. We made 3D prints, shipped them out, and showcased them. They were painted by some of the very familiar faces you just might be used to seeing. Creating a range of miniatures is a daunting task with many unknowns. Back then, creating games from scratch was more challenging due to the lack of accessibility that exists today. With so many of today's products and games being brought to fruition through crowdfunding platforms such as Kickstarter and GameFound, this provided an excellent alternative to some of those traditional methods. I knew my best chance at success was to align myself with a company that has proven capable of accomplishing this. Enter Lazy Squire Games, my Ravaged Star IP partners. They've run successful board game campaigns in the past and have a great team of storytellers and artists behind them. But that's for board games, not miniatures. What we were trying to accomplish hadn't been done before. It wasn't proven and therefore a risk. How could I go from concept to plastic without there being a game? Proxy. There's a substantial market for proxy miniatures in the wargaming industry. What's a proxy? It's basically when you use one miniature in place of another one, which doesn't always have to be from the original range or even the same company that produces the original miniature. Some people are against proxying their minis. Others don't care. Ultimately, I feel it's best not to tell anyone how they should hobby. It's their choice to make. I like to think of my job as providing ways people can be introduced to the wargaming community. Making my own miniatures could accomplish that very thing. As much as the momentum was gaining, I knew the best chance of exploding this idea was to make it into a tabletop wargame. I teased the idea of it, and the community responded with excitement. Making more miniatures meant creating a rule set, which progressed into me teaming up with the Lazy Squire guys in Serbia to do just that. Lazy Squire Games. We have Robert, the LSG partner owner based in North America. Nikola, the LSG partner from Serbia, the taskmaster of unparalleled proportions. So Robert and I departed from JFK and flew over the Atlantic. I travel light. Robert does not. We arrive in Serbia, are greeted by Nikola and Voodoo. Drive an hour through the countryside to Nikola's condo, which had built-in shelves for miniatures and a custom-made gaming table in the middle of the dining room.
Look at this. Oh, the quality.
At sunset, we headed out, walked the streets of Jagodina, observed some cultural differences, like their crazy snacks, and dined in what I describe as exotic restaurants. With our guts all plump with food, our energy tanks were refilled, and we got to work designing a rule set for our game. Both Robert and Nikola had experience designing board games. I had experience playing tabletop miniature war games. Igor, the man behind the pencil. I love seeing Igor make doodles of anything. His is a brain that flows with constant creativity, as this man doesn't seem to shut it off. We had what felt like hundreds of long, drawn-out, towel-twisting, nails-on-chalkboard screeching, mind-numbing, you get the idea. We had very stressful yet productive discussions on the rules and implementing your feedback at the same time. For instance, the community suggested alternate activations as a game mechanic. I absolutely loved this idea, since I enjoyed that mechanic in games like Marvel Crisis Protocol, Bolt Action, and Warhammer Apocalypse. So we've made that a part of the experience. As the day moved on, we accumulated the rules we collectively enjoyed. When discussing vehicles, Robert was adamant there be vehicle wrecking and crashing capabilities. I also knew there are many wargamers that absolutely love specialist games such as Gorka Morka, which also features vehicle crashing rules. With very little convincing, I was in. But the most important things to me were movement and close combat. I wanted to be able to move up the battlefield and charge into the fray with bloodlust and fury. Nikola is a well-rounded gamer that represents players who cater more to rules interactions and strategic elements of gameplay. Between the three of us, and all of you, via polls and posts, we came up with a foundation from which to build the framework for Ravaged Star, the tabletop miniature wargame. Our trip was a success. Took a little blood, sweat, mountain climbing, voodoo dancing. We accomplished what we came to do. But wait. What does this have to do with how I made $1.1 million in miniatures, which are still open to receive last-minute pledges due to closing February 28th of this year? It was you. I alone didn't do this. It was you, the community.
Dave from MiniWarGaming is the driving force behind Ravaged Star.
I have never seen the level of detail, quality, and sheer quantity of models in one box before nor since.
Again, congrats, Dave. You deserve it so much. I'm so happy for you.
You trusted me with this idea and you supported me in accomplishing it. If we were a couple of buddies at a gaming store and you'd say to me, make minis at a 32mm heroic scale, put about 100 minis in a box, sell it for about this much, make male and female warriors, make tanks, make monsters, make twisted and chonky mutants, make humans, make superhumans, and make something that comes pre-assembled right out of the box. And to that I'd say, you got it, man. I'm on it. I will pour my heart and soul into this because that's how much the wargaming community means to me. That brings us to today. Everything we've needed to do on our end is done. Promotions have been made, sculpts are adjusted, completed, and sent to the factory. Final production PVC plastic minis were held in hand and seen in person with my very own eyes. When giving the units to be manufactured, we paid to make all the minis pledged by the backers, plus some extra, to anticipate more people ordering through the pledge manager. However, this option won't be available forever. Originally, it was set to close at the end of January, but after a recount, we found remaining stock. We've decided to keep it up until February 28th, or until the stock levels fully deplete. The link below brings you right to the GameFound page to order your minis. If you're watching this after the pledge manager is closed, I've got some good news for you. If you follow the link provided down below, it'll bring you to the new GameFound preview page. Follow it, and you'll receive a free mini with your pledge, and a glimpse of the game. You'll see sample unit cards, more veil-touched miniatures, and you'll see 2 new factions. The Gorkog, which are a bug-like alien race that wants to devour all in their path, with their 2 new war packs, plus 2 battle packs that have them battling against the Veil-Touched and the Immari. This is your last chance to pledge for the Veil-Touched. I'm MiniWargamer Dave, and this is Ravaged Star, made by Wargamers.